Shavua Tov, good afternoon everybody, and welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm Rolene Marks, your host, and let's take a look at today's top stories. Before we get into today's top stories, I just want to give an update about the weekend following last week's major barrage of rockets following the targeted assassination of a senior Palestinian Islamic Jihad operative. The weekend was relatively calm. Schools have been reopened in the south. The IDF have lifted restrictions, and while there were sirens and rockets fired towards Beersheba in the early hours of yesterday morning, as a result the IAF struck Hamas targets within the Gaza Strip, we have returned to a tense calm, and long may it last. But the other top story dominating Israel's news, besides last week's Operation Black Belt and the decisive action against Palestinian Islamic Jihad, was how far are we moving in negotiations towards a coalition government? Well, with only a few days left to go, Prime Minister-designate Benny Gantz is nearing the end of his mandate, and there were rumours earlier this weekend that he could perhaps form a minority government propped up by the Joint List or a major Arab party. Now, President Rivlin has advised him against this, and there was quite a bit of rhetoric and campaigning from Prime Minister Netanyahu not to go with a coalition that is led in this kind of way. But the updates, as far as we have them, are fairly positive. We have news that Kahol Lavan leader Benny Gantz met earlier today with Avigdor Lieberman of Yisrael Beitenu, and that quite a lot of compromise was reached. This is according to Israel's Channel 12, and that meetings were held between Prime Minister Netanyahu and Yisrael Beitenu leader Avigdor Lieberman as well, and those also are said to be making progress. And we've even heard from the ultra-Orthodox factions, who are also rumoured to be partial to compromising, because nobody wants to go to a situation where we have a third set of elections. So will there be a lot of last-minute compromises? We hope so. One thing is for sure, we really, really hope we get a government to start working soon. And in other news, governments that are working are the municipalities of Vienna and Gans in Austria, who have declared that they will no longer allow for space or the funding and the promotion of any BDS activity. They see BDS as anti-Israel and will not allow for any promotion of this kind in their cities. They will not allow for BDS events to be held, and they will not allow for any space or any kind of advertising to be given to BDS. And we consider this quite a significant win, and this follows a declaration by the German Bundestag earlier this year that BDS is an anti-Semitic organization. Staying with BDS, but moving more further afield to the University of Toronto, and very troubling news coming out of the university this weekend was that the student union, or the student group of Hillel, which represents a lot of Jewish students on campus, put forward a petition to have kosher food made available on the campus for Jewish students. This was denied by the Graduate Students Association, which is the biggest students association apparently at the University of Toronto, who said they will not allow this because it is seen to be too pro-Israel. So for those people who say that anti-Zionism or BDS is not anti-Semitic, I think here you have a very clear-cut example. There is no differentiation between Jewish dietary law and Israeli policies, which BDS supporters say that they disagree with on campus. In fact, this particular campus and this particular student union has a committee that is dedicated to upholding and promoting BDS on campus. This is extremely discriminatory behavior against Jewish students. The Hillel on campus has condemned statements saying that Jewish food, or at least kosher food, is seen to be pro-Israel. And we will be following the story to see how this progresses, because it is a clear-cut case of discrimination. But in the meantime, these are your headlines for today. You can read more news on our website at www.layoftheland.online. There is a magnificent article written by Andy Seitovitz, who shares her feelings and her thoughts about the people of Israel and our supporters around the world, especially when we have a difficult week like we had last week. It's called Heroes of Israel. You can read it on our website or read it on our Facebook page. And don't forget to share our content. And if you haven't already, please like us or follow us, and invite your friends to join the party as well. And the party continues onto YouTube, where we have a YouTube channel. And if you're concerned that you're not getting your Israel news in your mainstream media, no worries, we've got you covered. Simply click on the subscribe button and you'll get your daily dose Monday to Thursday of the Israel Brief. And tell your friends to do it too. Let's get Israel's side of the story out there to the general public. But for today, I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief. We'll chat again tomorrow.